You wanna see something?
Hi! This video is oh, what's the matter? Huh? Ah! Please stop it! This is not food! These are gifts and presents for our fans! Oh no!
Don't forget to subscribe!
Nintendo!
Welcome back to the review series of Team Smash Christmas Specials.
In this video, we'll all be reviewing Pikachu's Winter Vacation. Let's get this thing started!
Spoiler alert!
Ash, Misty, Brock, and their Pokemon are planning to spend the holidays in a cabin that was lent to them by Professor Oak. However, the trainers leave to pick up a Christmas cake. Their Pokemon, Pikachu, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Togepi, Psyduck, and Vulpix are left at the cabin, with Pikachu in charge. The Pokemon stare at the door for a while until Togepi turns and heads off, with the other Pokemon following. Pushing their way into the living room, the Pokemon notice a beautifully decorated Christmas tree. They stare at it for a while until Squirtle notices the kitchen and points it out to the others. The Pokemon enter the kitchen to find the table prepared for a party. So they get on the table to have a closer look, with Togepi getting a lift from Bulbasaur. The Pokemon are instantly drawn to the colorful party hats and are initially perplexed by them. Vulpix realizes its use and flips a hat onto its head. The others getting the idea do the same, except for Psyduck, whose hat falls down onto its tail. Togepi and Pikachu return to the living room and start looking at the tree again. Togepi sees its reflection on a bulb and smiles. Pikachu does the same, and then starts making funny faces at the ornament. His reflection causes Togepi to giggle happily. Back in the kitchen, Bulbasaur picks up a Bulbasaur cookie from a plate. Nearby, Squirtle is pulling on the string of a party popper. Bulbasaur is about to eat the cookie when the party popper fires, startling both Squirtle and Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur flings the cookie into the air and into Squirtle's mouth, who eats it. Bulbasaur is angry about this, and Squirtle tries to make amends and apologize, but Bulbasaur is not buying his excuse. Squirtle is forced to make a run for it, with Bulbasaur in pursuit. Nearby, Vulpix is digging through a stocking and gets itself stuck inside. Vulpix attempts to shake it off, not being successful. It tries to walk off casually, but ends up walking into a wall. Back on the table, Psyduck picks up a bottle of Pokemon cider. It sticks the bottle in its mouth in an attempt to pull the cork off, but fails. Psyduck then hears the fizzing noise coming from the bottle and begins shaking the bottle around to make more noise because it is interested. Meanwhile, Bulbasaur is still in hot pursuit of Squirtle. Pikachu and Togepi still at the tree watch as they run past 3 times. Bulbasaur then uses Vine Whip, wrapping his vines around Squirtle, who in its panic runs around the tree, causing the vines to knock the tree off balance. Pikachu quickly pushes the tree back upright. Suddenly, Vulpix comes leaping into the scene and lands on top of the tree, tilting it back the other way. Pikachu quickly bolts around to the other side and shoves it upright again, with more effort this time. The stocking has fallen off of its head, and Vulpix decides to lay back onto the floor once the tree is upright once more. However, Bulbasaur hasn't given up in the chase of Squirtle, who ends up running around the tree once more. This time, however, Squirtle's leg gets caught up on a string of lights, which threatens to send the tree falling over again. Vulpix runs for it while Pikachu begins to strain to hold the tree upright once more. While back in the kitchen, Psyduck's shaking causes the cork to blow out of the bottle, sending it toppling backwards. The cork shoots up and flies around the room before hitting Pikachu in the face. Pikachu falls on the floor, and the tree comes down right on top of it. Bulbasaur's chasing ends, and both it and Squirtle, as well as Vulpix, look to see what happened. Pikachu eventually emerges from right under the tree, and Squirtle and Bulbasaur burst into laughter. Pikachu angrily stands up and Bulbasaur and Squirtle quickly clam up, knowing what's happening. So burning with rage, Pikachu unleashes a powerful Thunderbolt attack. However, the electricity goes straight into the lights and blows out the power in the whole cabin. The Pokemon are left in the darkness, and they're looking around, wondering what just happened. Pikachu, however, realizes with a bit of work, the fallen tree behind them could be just as beautiful, and explains this to the others. The other Pokemon eagerly accept this, and soon, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Pikachu, and Vulpix are working to set up the tree again, while Togepi and Psyduck work together to gather up the fallen ornaments. When Ash, Misty, and Brock return, they find the cabin pitch black. Brock points out that it gets dark early now. When they enter the living room, they are greeted by Pikachu's cheerful attitude, and the Christmas tree lights up, and it's revealed that the Pokemon are sitting in front of it. Pikachu holding the plugs to the lights and the music box to his cheeks. Ash and his friends enjoy this spectacular event, and Ash recommends that they start the party. Misty cuts the cake, to which Ash orders a big piece. They all wish each other a Merry Christmas. Meanwhile, Santa Claus's sleigh is darting its way across the night sky, thus ending the first part, Christmas night. The second part, Kanga Games, begins with Ash, Misty, and Brock arriving at the cabin and quickly getting inside so they can warm up because of a snowstorm. As night falls, it starts to snow. The next morning, Pikachu is the first one to wake up. After stretching with a yawn, it races to the window, and it's happy to see snow covering everything. Pikachu calls to the other Pokemon and heads for the door. As the other Pokemon, Togepi, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Vulpix, Geodude, and Psyduck wake up, they notice that Pikachu is racing outside. The other Pokemon peek out the door, but Psyduck brings them crashing down on each other. However, they too can see the snow, and quickly bolt off to join Pikachu in playing in it, although Psyduck face plants off the porch. Their play, however, catches the attention of Brock's Onix, who comes over to join them. The vibrations of its arrival send a pile of snow falling off a tree and right onto Pikachu. Pikachu ends up becoming a Pika-Snow when its ears and eyes pop out of the snow. A bit later, Togepi is walking backwards through the snow, Pikachu beside it. It's enjoying the footprints it's leaving, which goes into a stabbing frenzy to leave a lot of footprints. It then runs into another trail of footprints, which Pikachu is doing another one of its impressions. Reveals that they were made by Squirtle, which turns out to be the case. Togepi then makes its way over to a set of face prints. Even Pikachu is confused by these. But it's revealed that Psyduck is continuing face planting routine to make a face print trail. Togepi heads off again to look for more prints, but suddenly finds itself in a footprint bigger than it. The question is, who could this even belong to? The ever-curious Togepi sets out to find what made these prints, bringing Pikachu in pursuit. Pikachu tries to tell Togepi to go back, but gets interrupted by a pair of stomps as something walks up to them. And it's revealed that they quickly turn to see and find themselves staring up at a Kangaskhan. However, Kangaskhan looks happy to see them, and thumbs its pouch, which prompts a baby Kangaskhan to look out. Pikachu and Togepi introduce themselves, and the mother tries to convince the baby to play. But the baby just drops back into the pouch. It looks like it's a little bit shy, though. A snowball suddenly impacts nearby. Pikachu and Togepi quickly look, and Geodude moves behind a tree, apparently being the one who threw it. Bulbasaur is holding a snowball in its vines. Psyduck is also behind a tree, and Squirtle runs up with one of its own. It throws it, but misses and hits a tree. So Bulbasaur throws its snowball, plastering Squirtle in the face and sending him sliding down on its shell. So this gets the baby Kangaskhan's attention, and his mother lifts it out of its pouch so it can play too. It at first hides between its mother's legs, but soon peeks out and gets hit by a snowball from Squirtle, who seems to be trying to get it to throw one back. The baby hides again, while Pikachu offers it a snowball to use. Pikachu suddenly takes a snowball to the face thrown by Squirtle. This makes the baby Kangaskhan laugh. Pikachu is about to retaliate, but the baby Kangaskhan takes the snowball and throws it itself. Squirtle and Bulbasaur duck and run off, Pikachu, Togepi, and the baby Kangaskhan following. So a snowball fight ensues, as the mother Kangaskhan looks on happily. Up above, Meowth is watching the snowball fight, and laughing at them for being amateurs. Meowth then picks up a large snowball, but begins to struggle under its weight. Meowth slams it down with a sigh, and the snow collapses underneath it, and Meowth goes rolling off with the snowball. It gets bigger and bigger as it rolls, eventually trapping Meowth in it as it goes rolling into the distance. And, to be honest, this nets a little more than a curious glance from the other Pokemon, who soon go back to their play. Togepi and the baby Kangaskhan come across a boat-like sled, and they hop in, and they rock back and forth. This, however, sends the boat sliding forward and down the hill. Pikachu sees this and quickly chases after them, managing to leap into the sled himself as it goes on a wild ride down the hill. The sled shoots past Squirtle and Bulbasaur, who look on in surprise. Bulbasaur decides to join the fun and grabs Squirtle with its vines and uses it as a sled. The ride goes on, and they eventually go flying with the others. Not to be left out, Onix lowers itself as a sled so Vulpix, Psyduck, and Geodude can get on. It then sets itself into a slide after the others. After a series of snow ramps, which send Pikachu's sled and Bulbasaur and Squirtle ramping, while Onix simply crashes through them. One major crash ends up with all the other Pokemon on Onix's back as well. However, there's trouble ahead. The lake is not frozen, and Onix is heading towards it, which means that water is super effective against rock types. Suddenly, the mother Kangaskhan rushes to the rescue. Showing surprise speed for such a large Pokemon, it races down in front of the sliding Onix and braces itself. The Onix slams into Kangaskhan, and they go into a long skid. However, the Kangaskhan manages to stop them just before they all go crashing in the lake. And that's a relief. The rest of the day is spent playing with the mother Kangaskhan. Psyduck and Squirtle hang from its ears, Pikachu, Togepi, and the baby Kangaskhan play in its pouch, Bulbasaur swings from its arm with its vines, and Vulpix and Geodude chase each other over its back. Obviously, the Kangaskhan seems to enjoy the company. But day soon fades to night, and it is time for the Kangaskhan to go home. Slipping the baby Kangaskhan back into its pouch, the mother Kangaskhan heads on its way. But as the others wave goodbye, of course they're out of sight, the Pokemon are disappointed, but this quickly changes when Ash, Misty, and Brock start calling for them. The Pokemon quickly reunite with their trainers, and everyone's happy once more. The day's ending only made it better by the fact that it starts snowing once again. The Pokemon and their trainers take one last look at the lake and the snow as the camera fades out, thus ending the second part, Kanga Games. The third part, Winter Games, begins when Ash, Misty, and Brock headed to town to pick up a few things for their temporary cabin, once again leaving Pikachu in charge. Togepi, Psyduck, and Vulpix run off to send them off, although Chikorita soon squeezes herself into the same, after admonitions from Misty to take care of Togepi, and Brock telling Vulpix to behave itself, the humans head out on their way. Pikachu, Togepi, and Vulpix make their way to the table next to a window to say goodbye. Chikorita and Psyduck make their way over, Chikorita leaping onto one of the chairs. The rest of the Pokemon, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Poliwag, Heracross, and Geodude, come out of the back room. They quickly make their way to the table to say goodbye themselves, Bulbasaur smacking Chikorita off the chair and into the wall. Chikorita was not happy about this. While the Pokemon say their goodbyes, Pikachu notices his breath forming a fog on the window. Squirtle and Bulbasaur also notice this, blowing fog clouds of their own. Squirtle then takes it one step further, pushing its face into the fog, leaving a perfect imprint in the cloud.
Togepi sees this and practically begs Pikachu to do the same. Pikachu takes a deep breath and blows onto the window, making a big cloud, which proceeds to leave an imprint of its face in. Togepi steps up into the window and tries to do the same, but it cannot quite manage to blow a cloud big enough or permanent enough. It just laps it off, as do the other Pokemon. Back on the floor, the still upset Chikorita is sulking. Pikachu sees Chikorita's emotional pain and makes his way over, trying to cheer Chikorita up. However, Chikorita refuses to listen. Pikachu tries once more, but Chikorita angrily waves her leaf, smacking a slipper on the floor up into the air, off the wall, and straight onto Togepi's head. And this causes Togepi to burst into tears, and all of the Pokemon are getting worried. All of the other Pokemon except Pikachu, Chikorita, and Vulpix start making funny faces to try to get Togepi to stop crying, without much success. Vulpix, however, saves the day by waving its tails in front of Togepi, which cheers Togepi up. Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Pikachu sigh in relief. Pikachu turns on Chikorita, who is now more upset than ever, runs off. Surprised, Pikachu and the other Pokemon follow. Chikorita, looking back to see them chase after her, doesn't notice a large icicle hanging down in time to stop. She rams into it, and the other Pokemon see this and start laughing, which only angers Chikorita further. Pikachu playfully knocks on one of the icicles, which makes a chime. Squirtle knocks on a different one with its head, which makes a different tone chime. Psyduck, Geodude, and Poliwag proceed to knock on icicles themselves, each making a different chime, and this gives Pikachu an idea. Heading over to Heracross, he points out a row of the icicles, which Heracross does a Heracross horn impression with his ears. Getting the idea, Heracross hits the icicles in a row, producing a downward scale of chimes. The Pokemon enjoying the tune start hitting icicles in order to make a makeshift tune. The still upset Chikorita, however, breaks up the fun by launching a Razor Leaf at one of the icicles, causing it to almost fall on Squirtle, making it fall backwards. Chikorita giggles, and then it launches more Razor Leaves, almost hitting Heracross, one just missing Bulbasaur and Poliwag, and one crashing harmlessly against Geodude's head because it's a rock type and it's rock hard. Pleased with herself, Chikorita runs off again. Pikachu is in the middle of pulling Squirtle back up when it notices Chikorita running off and going after it, causing Squirtle to fall back into its shell once again. Chikorita runs into what looks like a park, with Pikachu and the other Pokemon following. Togepi hitching a ride on Vulpix's back, and Psyduck is bringing up the rear. Chikorita turns on the speed, races down a stairway, and suddenly goes on an out-of-control slide at an ice skating rink. Pikachu stops at the top of the stairs and realizes what Chikorita is doing looks like fun. Suddenly, the other Pokemon end up crashing into Pikachu, sending all of them tumbling down the stairs. The rest stops short, but Pikachu ends up face-sliding on the ice. With no way of stopping itself, Pikachu ends up colliding right into Chikorita. They both go sliding across the ice, and Chikorita eventually dragging its sleeve onto the ice to stop them. Pikachu and Chikorita gradually separate themselves. Pikachu laughs embarrassed, but Chikorita just walks off the ice. It stops only long enough to turn back and stick its tongue out at Pikachu, and this leaves Pikachu sad and disappointed. Back at the other end, Poliwag is skating across the ice, and Psyduck is face-sliding. Bulbasaur and Squirtle make their way out to Pikachu. Togepi riding on Bulbasaur's back. Togepi asks Pikachu for a push, to which Pikachu happily obliges, and Togepi slides across the ice. Squirtle, seeing that, wants to do it too, so it lays on its shell and withdraws into it, and Bulbasaur gives it a push, and it goes sliding, plowing through Poliwag and Psyduck, bouncing off the fence, tripping up Heracross, and crashing through Vulpix. Its ride, however, soon comes to a halt as it slams into Geodude, causing it to become dizzy and fall over. Chikorita, watching this, realizes they're having fun, when suddenly Meowth's voice is heard. He says that they're having fun, but they'll get hurt if they keep slipping around like banana peels. Meowth makes his way down to show them how it's done, while Togepi's ride bumps him into Pikachu, knocking him down. Meowth makes his way onto the ice, but suddenly panics as he loses his traction, while manages to catch himself on his claws. However, he suddenly starts accelerating and realizes Poliwag is sweeping the ice in front of Meowth like an Olympic curler. Chikorita soon slides out to assist, and Meowth is sent into a speedy slide that results in shooting off the ice and into a tree. This results in a pile of snow falling on it.
much to the laughter of the other Pokemon. Meowth fails to see the humor, but soon finds his chance for revenge when he sees Vulpix curling for Bulbasaur. And Meowth soon makes his way out and starts sweeping too. And soon, Bulbasaur is sent on a similar ride as Meowth with similar results. He too crashes into a tree and gets buried in snow. Meowth gloats, but the angry Bulbasaur bursts out of the snow and wraps Meowth up with a vine whip. So Bulbasaur then sends Meowth into a wild spin on the ice. Vulpix, Poliwag, and Chikorita start sweeping, while making Meowth go even faster. Squirtle panics and withdraws, getting sent skidding by the spinning Meowth. And Meowth ends up sending Pikachu and Togepi into spins, and gets pinned off Geodude like a pinball hitting a bumper. Squirtle and Meowth are now heading right for each other, and they soon collide, sending Meowth blasting off again.
The Pokemon are having another laugh at Meowth's expense while Squirtle pops out of its shell, wondering what happened. Chikorita suddenly pops in next to Pikachu once more. They soon share another laugh. As sunset comes, the Pokemon are still happily sliding away on the ice. Ash and his friends call out to their Pokemon as everybody makes their way off the ice, thus ending Winter Games.
The fourth part, Stantler's Little Helpers, is as follows. On a starry Christmas night, in a house with a decorated Christmas tree, Ash says the group should go to bed soon because Santa Claus is coming. At the same time, Pikachu entertains Togepi by making funny faces. After Ash hangs out the Christmas stocking, he lies in his bed telling Pikachu to go to sleep, and Misty tells the same thing to Togepi. They both go to their trainers' beds and cover themselves with the blankets. Brock wishes Misty and Ash good night, and they all go to sleep. Next to the fireplace where Ash's bag is, Chikorita pops out of her Pokeball, and she spots Pikachu lying next to Ash and is instantly jealous. So she uses her vines to take him out of the bed. Then she jumps in bed and covers herself with a blanket. Togepi wakes up and Bulbasaur, Heracross, Vulpix, Poliwag, Psyduck, and Squirtle come out of their balls. The commotion wakes up Pikachu while Togepi and Chikorita emerge from the covers and rush to join the others. Next, all Pokemon are looking through the window and see the decorated Christmas tree. Chikorita looks up at the sky and sees several shooting stars before a dash of red light streams across the sky. Everybody is curious and presses their faces against the glass to have a closer look, which causes the window to accidentally open and they fall out into the snow. The Pokemon instantly bolt into the pine forest and towards the red light, ignoring Pikachu's pleas. They soon arrive at a clearing where they see Santa Claus and his Stantler. He tells them that he still has to deliver many presents, but his Stantler has come down with a fever and only a certain berry can cure it. All the Pokemon volunteer to search for the berries. They start searching through the snow, but they are getting nowhere. Pikachu suddenly gets an idea after snow falls on his head, and proceeds to explain it to the others. So they turn their attention to the Christmas tree, where Chikorita uses Razor Leaf to bring down the star on top of the tree. The star lands onto Pikachu's head. He uses his electricity to power it up, and the lights help them see in the dark as they search for the berries. Despite their enthusiasm, the search is yielding no results so far. Vulpix suddenly perks up and points to a berry bush growing from a steep cliff, and the others spot the berries as well. Togepi decides to make the climb, though Pikachu pulls it to safety and decides to scale the cliff himself. Pikachu starts climbing up when a powerful wind blows the star off of his head. Though he resists the wind and continues climbing until he finally manages to get there. He picks some berries, and then the snow-covered rock ledge under him breaks, making him fall. Bulbasaur and Chikorita use their vines to stop him from falling and bring him back to the ground, safe and sound. And they hurry back to Santa Claus and give the Stantler berries. Stantler is soon feeling better, and Santa thanks the Pokemon for their help. Santa and his Stantler fly off in their sleigh to continue their round-the-world present deliveries while Pikachu and the rest wave to him. The next morning, Ash, Misty, and Brock and all their Pokemon enjoy their presents, while the Christmas tree is revealed to have the same star on top, thus ending the fourth part, Stantler's Little Helpers. The fifth story, Delibird's Delivery Dilemma. It is the day before Christmas. The Pokemon are bowling with snowballs. Pikachu gets a strike, and Bulbasaur and Chikorita reset the bottles for Cyndaquil, who misses the mark. Totodile then moves forward with a giant snowball in its mouth. It trips, and the snowball is sent up into the air with a water gun, hitting a passing Delibird. As Delibird plummets towards the ground, the Pokemon rush over to see what was going on. Meanwhile, Meowth is telling Wobbuffet about his nasty run-in with the Skarmory. The pair scale some stairs and come across a Skarmory sleeping on the handrail. Meowth warns Wobbuffet not to get Skarmory angry when Delibird and the Snowball come crashing down. Skarmory uses a wing attack, causing Meowth and Wobbuffet to blast off, while Delibird falls into the woods, its presence scattering everywhere. Noctowl tries to hold Delibird up, but it's too heavy. Luckily, Bulbasaur and Chikorita use their vines together to pull Delibird safely to the ground. Cyndaquil decides to tickle Delibird to wake it up, and Togepi and Pikachu quickly befriend it. Delibird realizes that the presents are gone, and the Pokemon quickly promise to help find them. They split up into 2 different groups and start looking. Pikachu notices the first present on a boat that is moving along the river, and Totodile chases after it. After Totodile picks up the present, Chikorita pulls it over to land. Meanwhile, in the woods, Noctowl has searched from the air but returns with no presents. Psyduck becomes sidetracked and joins a passing group of Gloom. Bulbasaur stops their parade and asks the Gloom if they have seen any presents. They have, and so Noctowl uses Foresight to scan the area. Spotting a present in a tree, all that they need to do is get it down, and Geodude solves this by banging into a tree. While searching through an alleyway, Cyndaquil falls asleep out of exhaustion due to its stamina from trying to search for the presents. Pikachu gently wakes it up, though Cyndaquil still falls onto its back from the unexpected scare. Cyndaquil stops squirming, and Pikachu looks up to see the third present being on a clothesline overhead. As they prepare to retrieve it, an Aipom spots the present and refuses to hand it over. The Pokemon throws snowballs at it, but to no avail. The Aipom is dancing around mischievously by this time, and then is hit by a snowball it doesn't see and ends up falling. Pikachu breaks its fall, and the Aipom runs off without the present carrying by its tail. Later, the 2 groups meet up, and Bulbasaur handed 2 gifts over to Delibird. However, they still need to find another one, but there's only 10 minutes until midnight. As the night falls, Noctowl spots the present in another tree. With a bit of effort, Noctowl pulls it up, but it starts falling down the tree. Due to the angle of the branches, it flies past them. Though they run after it, they can't catch up, especially as Bulbasaur and Chikorita are flicking it up to stop hitting the ground. And Totodile finally catches it. But then everyone runs into it and the present goes flying over a cliff. The same Aipom from earlier happens to be there, and it grabs the present with its tail. So Aipom gives the present to Pikachu, who in turn hands it to Delibird. And is just in time as the clock has struck midnight, and the Christmas tree behind them lights up, a booming voice none other than Santa Claus himself. Thanks to Pokemon for their help, Delibird hops into the sleigh with Santa, and Stantler lets out a cry before pulling the sleigh into the night sky as Santa and his crew set off to deliver presents from across the world, as Pikachu and the other Pokemon wave at them, thus ending the 5th part, Delibird's Delivery Dilemma. The last part, Snorlax Snowman, begins on top of a hill behind a Pokemon Center, and all of the Pokemon are building snowmen. Although they are small, Totodile has made a large one, and the other Pokemon decide to work on that. And Chikorita begins by marking 2 dashes for the eyes, and all the Pokemon work together so that, by evening, they have made a very realistic snow Snorlax. That night, while everybody is asleep, Pikachu wakes up and notices a white Snorlax peering through the window. Pikachu wakes the other Pokemon up. Then they follow the Snorlax through the woods until they come to a tree on top of a cliff that overlooks the ocean. Snorlax points to an apple on the tree, in which Chikorita picks it with a vine whip. Everyone runs for it, but Snorlax eats it in one bite, slamming down on the weak cliff face, and making everyone plummet.
Luckily, they fall on Snorlax, who slides into the ocean.
Struck at sea, the Pokemon yell at Snorlax, who just falls asleep.
Togepi points out the wondrous aurora lighting up the night sky, which they take a moment to enjoy. However, while they aren't watching the sea, they float into a whirlpool. Pikachu and Totodile try to use a Thunderbolt and a Water Gun combination respectively, but the attacks prove useless. Just as they think all hope is lost, Snorlax wakes up and uses Blizzard, an ice attack, which freezes the water. And they now effectively have their own aquarium, so they look at the passing water Pokemon for a while. When it's time to go home, Totodile uses Water Gun, which Snorlax freezes. And Bulbasaur and Chikorita use their Razor Leaf attacks to carve the ice block into a boat. They use it to head back, but Geodude's bouncing around makes the boat break apart. They sink, but two Lapras come to their rescue, taking them to an island where there are many more snow Snorlax. As Snorlax waves, the Lapras and the rest of the Pokemon head back to the Pokemon Center. Everyone falls asleep, and when they wake up, they are already back at the Pokemon Center. Pikachu suddenly asks the Pokemon something. They all nod in assent, and they run up to the hill where they see their snow Snorlax sitting in the sun where they left it, glowing bright, thus ending Snorlax Snowman and Pikachu's winter vacation.
Did you know that?
Christmas Night in Kanga Games was released between episodes 75 and 76 in Japan, so chronologically, however, it must take place either before or after the aforementioned episodes, as they are placed in the middle of the Indigo Plateau Conference. And Christmas Night is also the Japanese title of a similar episode. And both the Japanese version and the English dub remained exclusive to VHS for several years before being aired on TV. And the English dub VHS release of this Pikachu short contains the Japanese opening theme as a bonus feature. And this is the first Pikachu short in which Ash and his friends actually make an appearance. And as in the original Japanese version, the cabin that Ash, Misty, and Brock were staying in for Christmas does not belong to Professor Oak. And as for Winter Games and Stantler's Little Helpers, it was released between episodes 126 and 127 in Japan. The instrumental version of A New Friend is used in Winter Games. In the English dub, when Ash and his friends walk into the cabin, Brock asks who has the list, when Misty responding that she has it. They don't say anything in the Japanese version. The narrator that describes the events of the short is removed in the English dub. In the beginning of Stantler's Little Helpers, Pikachu displays his talent for Pokemon impressions as he's seen doing imitations of Psyduck, Meowth, and Lickitung. The Japanese title of this Pikachu short is the English dub title of a similar episode. A remix of Routes 26 and 27 is used as background music when Pikachu climbs the mountain to gather berries for the Stantler. And the narrator that describes the events of this short is removed in the English dub. As for Delibird's Delivery Dilemma and Snorlax Snowman, it was released between episodes 178 and 179 in Japan. In the English dub, Santa Claus narrates the events of the short instead of the usual narrator, Roger Parsons. Colorful Winter Vacation is used as an insert song when the Pokemon begin to search for Delibird's presence. Pikachu's Winter Vacation replaces Colorful Winter Vacation as an insert song. While the televised version uses the normal Chronicles ending, the DVD has the credits over a picture from this Pikachu short. This also happens in the Brazilian and European Portuguese airings of this Pikachu short. And the plot for Snorlax Snowman is very similar to the 1982 classic animated film and story, The Snowman. While a small part of Ash's arm and Brock's hair are shown as they are sleeping, Misty is not shown at all throughout this Pikachu short. So you could say she was invisible. And There's Magic in the Night is used as an insert song.
Now you know!
So we all give Pikachu's Christmas specials a ultimate 12 out of 10.
This special's rating is a 6 out of 5. I am Nix.
Okay, let's do this one together!
Pika-Bee!
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. What do you think?
If you appreciated it, please be sure to smash that like button, and be sure to follow my social media platforms in the description below, and the Team Life Flight's fandom channels. Please be sure to leave a comment below, and give us your open-minded thoughts. We here at Team Life Flight's fandubs do not condone harassment, violence, or trolls allowed, or otherwise, Red Hurricane Comedy Central's The Red and Stimpy Show will haunt you down to the ends of the Shadow Realm. So please be sure to subscribe to our channels and click the notification bell. You'll never miss this video the second it goes live on YouTube and Google. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Happy holidays, and have a happy new year, and best wishes for all!